Hello, I'm Jed Hacker with the Columbus Garden Railway Society. It's the middle of April 2020, and today I have a video show and tell of club members' winter projects. Ohio is still in the middle of our stay-at-home order during this COVID-19 pandemic. Our club meetings have been canceled for March and April, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can keep our May meeting planned at the Mill Creek Central Railroad in Coshocton. Mill Creek is a 7.5-inch gauge ride-on railroad. The property has approximately 5 miles of track with 206 turnouts and 3 rail yards. I have not visited Mill Creek before, and I'm really looking forward to making this trip over there. This facility is privately owned and not open to the public, but they will open for enthusiasts of the railroading hobby, and of course gatherings throughout the summer with other 7.5-inch gauge train hobbyists. If you're not familiar with Mill Creek, I've linked their website in the description below. Our first show and tell, pictures from Bob Duggan. Bob has been on the CGRS Open Garden Railroad Tour for over 20 years, and he continues to make several new buildings each and every year. This winter, he made a wine tasting shop for his G-Scale winery from scraps he had left over from other projects. This is going to make a fine addition to his growing scenery on the Sutter Park Lumber Railroad. Bob also designed and created all the kits for this year's Make and Take project in January. This project was a big hit with our members, and the resulting bridges will be on many CGRS members' railroads for years to come. Next, we move to Bob and Eileen Brenner's 7.5-inch gauge railroad project on the property. Much progress has been made since the club meeting in October 2018. This winter, Bob purchased and built this electric engine. He feels it's more reliable than a gasoline engine. It's modeled after a GE 23-ton box cab switch engine. He bought the frame, traction motors, and controls. The rest he built out of 14-gauge sheet metal and 1/8-inch steel rod for the railings. The engine is 24-volt and has two 12-volt batteries and a motor for each axle. Bob's also built a hopper car to help spreading ballast on the run. It's still under construction, refining the dump mechanism. It's mainly screwed together with some minor welding. Next, moving outdoors, last fall Bob completed the teardrop turnaround at the end of the line closest to the house. This adds more distance for his run and creates a handy way to turn the train around. The biggest challenge building the 7.5-inch railroad is crossing the pond. It was decided to build a trestle bridge to span the waterway. Last fall, Bob managed to build an abutment and 2 spans of the bridge. This winter, he built 2 trestle piers in his basement. So far, Bob, Eileen, and their friend John Deere have dragged one of them down to the pond and have it constructed in the 2-foot deep pond. The finished bridge will be a 60-foot, 6-span trestle. Bob says he's very thankful for Santa bringing him a pair of hip waders for Christmas this year. Our last update comes from the very creative Chip Rosenblum. Chip found an antique Markland mechanism in an estate sale. The condition was such that he was certain no one there knew exactly what it was or wanted to bother with it. He, on the other hand, was delighted. Murray Wilson said it was a 1920s era Markland that was designed to run on 40 volts AC. The first challenge was to clean up the mechanism. After much work and lubrication, he was able to move the parts by hand. When he started experimenting with the voltages, absolutely nothing happened. After replacing the brushes and using a variable DC power supply, the motor would start to turn at 7 volts but run too fast at 9.5. Chip decided to try a 7-cell, 8.4 volt nickel metal hydrate battery. Once the motor seemed to be happy running with that, he started to figure out what to make this project into. Chip started with the concept of a box cab and began to glue up some 1/8-inch plywood and trim. Once the basic outline was there, it became a matter of function and decoration. Chip has a scale in mind, and he jokingly says it's in the bathroom. It's roughly what he would call the 1/12 scale. The tricky part was to find a way for the mechanism to support the superstructure and have access for a removable battery. He found a set of brass grommets in a thrift shop and liked the size of the large drapery rod grommets for the front and rear windows. The rest is all Chip's imagination, using whatever parts and pieces he's collected over time. Chip hosts monthly steam-ups at his house for live steam G-scale train enthusiasts. Watch for updates on the CGRS website calendar for his next gathering. Also, keep in mind at this time of the filming of this video, we are 21 weeks away from the annual Garden Railroad open house tour on Sunday, September 13th. With our stay-at-home orders this spring, it should give everyone a good head start getting our gardens ready for summer and fall. We hope to have several new gardens on this year's tour. I've personally hosted 3 open houses, and they're just a whole lot of fun. If you have a project you'd like to share with the club, please send me pictures or a video with a description of what you've done, and I'll continue making these videos. If you've been watching this long, you must like the video. Please go down to the bottom and click that like button, and consider subscribing to this channel to receive notice when new videos have been posted. That's all for now. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you when we see you.